Meaningful metrics on Off the Ball.
In partnership with Whoop, the personalised digital fitness and health coach that helps you unlock your inner potential. See whoop.com for more.
It is that time of the week when we make it a little bit smarter with meaningful metrics and Off the Ball in partnership with Whoop, the personalised digital fitness and health coach that helps you unlock your inner potential. See whoop.com for more. So we're going to bring you the facts, the figures, the stats, everything you need to know about the FA Cup final taking place Saturday evening, Liverpool against Chelsea. And Andy Martin is in studio to fill us in. How are you keeping?
How are you, Nathan?
So the FA Cup. The FA Cup.
Do you have any good memories from the FA Cup?
Doesn't everybody? FA Cup standout, FA Cup finals. First FA Cup final, I remember 1989.
1989.
Pride
Liverpool.
of John Aldridge being there, Ian Rush doing the business.
Aldridge
big
scored in the fourth minute,
Irish contingent, yeah. A lot of my early memories are associated with Irish players playing.
Yeah.
So you can sort of sum up people's age by their FA Cup memories, or maybe for everybody their FA Cup memories just stop after 2006. After that, from 2006 to pretty much present day, I struggle. In fact, when somebody mentioned Yuri Tielemans earlier, it's like, yes, Leicester. And Leicester is one of the more memorable ones.
Leicester is definitely one of the more memorable ones. There's a few others in the last couple of years, especially in the last 15. Wigan won in 2013 against Manchester City. Arsenal beat Chelsea in 2019 and 2017.
You see, I would say Arsenal beat Chelsea in the FA Cup final 7 times in the last 10 years.
It feels like it's
Chelsea
always
beat Arsenal, and Ashley Cole played in all of them.
It does feel that kind of way. Ashley Cole's actually the most FA Cup medals as a player. He's got 7, 3 of them with Arsenal, 4 with Chelsea, and he actually lost 1 as well. So I think he's the most appearances in the FA Cup final as well.
I would have thought it was maybe the other way around, that he had more with Arsenal than Chelsea.
Arsenal are also the most appearances for one team in the FA Cup final with 21 appearances. Chelsea are third with 15. Liverpool are fourth then with 14. But then when you add the extra one that comes in this year. What's interesting about it though is that if you look at it, especially in the last 15 years, since the new Wembley has come along, since it's been opened, Chelsea have been in the final 9 times. And this is Liverpool's 2nd time.
What does that say? What does that say about the state of modern football? That they have the depth because of the Abramovich money to give them a bigger squad than in those early rounds when they're rotating. That Chelsea had a stronger squad than Liverpool did.
I don't even know if you could really say that necessarily, because when you look at Chelsea's squad, now in the last 2-3 years is a bit of an exception, but there was a time before Thomas Tuchel, before Frank Lampard came in, they had that huge overhaul in the summer of 2020. You had a team that necessarily, I think there was one year where Chelsea had a squad of 22 players, and at the time what you had was, there was a rule where you had to have at least 6 English players in your squad for a minimum of 22 players, and that's why you see a lot of English goalkeepers getting signed, like Scott Carson for Manchester City, and Marcus Bettinelli signed for Chelsea there last summer. And that's just another example of it.
I think as well, because Chelsea changed managers, that getting a quick bit of silverware always went down well. So that's why there was a bit more of a focus.
Absolutely, yeah. And Tuchel's kind of the best manager for that as well. Tuchel is actually the first, or well, not the first, but he will now, with this final, have been in the most cup finals as a Chelsea manager with Jose Mourinho. 4
already?
Yeah, 4 finals, and he's been there a year. And on the day that he takes charge of the FA Cup final, he'll have been in charge for a year and 108 days.
You're much younger than me. Was there ever a time in your life that the FA Cup was important?
There was, yeah. I remember the 2007 Cup final.
That's what I'm saying. The last interesting Cup final was 2006. So therefore the answer is, do you remember the 2006 Cup final?
The 2006 one, that was Gerrard.
Yes.
That was Gerrard scored the 91st minute.
Yes.
From outside the box, wasn't it? The volley.
Yes.
Yeah. There was that. Pepe Reina saved a couple of penalties in the shootout. That'll actually be interesting as well if it comes to the penalty shootout this weekend.
Why?
Well, it'll be interesting to see whether Tuchel goes for Kepa and whether he goes for...
Kepa. Leave Kepa on the bench. Dear God.
Do you think?
Yes. So actually on that then, give me a stat. Chelsea-Liverpool League Cup final, Chelsea-Liverpool FA Cup final. How often do the same teams meet in the Carabao, Milk, Rumbelows, Coca-Cola Littlewoods, whatever you want to call it, final, and the FA Cup final.
This is only the second time in the history of the League Cup and the FA Cup that the two teams that have played in the League Cup final have played in the FA Cup final. Now, in that season, it was Arsenal and Middlesbrough. Arsenal won both times. And
Sheffield Wednesday, Arsenal. Sheffield Wednesday.
Sorry, that's what I meant.
Andy Linnigan.
The only other team to go to both finals and lose both finals was Middlesbrough, and that was 1997. Who they actually lost to in the FA Cup final that year was Chelsea.
Roberto Di Matteo.
Yeah, that was the year he scored the fastest ever goal, which was then actually replaced by Louis Saha in 2009 against Chelsea, which was 25 seconds. Unfortunately, no one really remembers that because Everton didn't go on and win it, whereas Di Matteo's was the winning goal, basically.
We've John Giles coming up later on the show with Eddie Gray. It is 50 years since Leeds United won the Cup. They beat Arsenal in the final, and I watched the game back last night, and the commentary around it is incredible as to how important the Cup was. Billy Bremner said beforehand that I've won championships, I've won European Cups, I have won any amount of Scottish Cups, but the one thing I want is an FA Cup. It was, without question, the biggest game of the season. Yeah,
especially people actually kind of forget the Chelsea and Leeds rivalry was actually huge at the time as well. There was a survey made in like 2004-ish where Leeds fans were asked who was their biggest rival. Number one was Manchester United, but number two was Chelsea.
Because John Giles used to kick lumps out of them.
There was actually that game you're talking about, the 1970 FA Cup final.
The 70 was Chelsea-Leeds, 72 was Leeds-Arsenal, Chelsea beat them in 70.
They did, and that actually went to a replay, and the replay was watched by 28 million viewers.
Right.
Now, if you put that into context, last year's FA Cup final was only watched by 9 million. And when you think about the amount of people that actually had TVs back in 1970 and who could actually watch it, you know, it's an interesting stat when you think of how did people go ahead and watch these games.
Television had been invented by then.
I know, but not as many households had
know?
TVs. As many households had TVs.
They all gathered round.
I'm not that
each other warm.
What's interesting about that as well is that was actually the most watched FA Cup final ever, with 28 million. It was the sixth most watched event in UK history.
Right.
Yeah, you wouldn't put
1970 FA Cup final.
Yeah, you wouldn't put that in there.
That'd make John Giles pretty famous, it's got to be said.
It would, and that game was an absolute disgrace in terms of...
Oh, yeah. Well, you say disgrace.
Oh, well...
That depends what you like. Want from your football.
Yeah, I suppose you could put it that way. There was a
John Giles going to be on soon with Eddie Gray. You can say it was a bloody disgrace and see how far you get.
Eddie Gray actually got named man of the match in the first game before the replay.
Well done, Eddie.
But there was actually an excerpt from a match report, basically, or not a match report, but a review of the game from 1997 then, from referee David Ellery.
Oh yeah,
and he basically
how many red cards?
Yeah, he said there would be 6 red cards and 20 yellow cards between them. And in that game, there's an excerpt from his what he said about it, and he basically said Tommy Baldwin and Terry Cooper, admittedly two quieter men of the two sides, were kicking lumps out of one another as the battle began. Not long into the game, Chelsea's Ron Harris caught winger Eddie Gray.
Chopper.
Yeah, Ron Chopper Harris, with a kick to the back of the knee, an action which neutralised the winger for the rest of the game. Then Norman Hunter and Ian Hutchinson traded punches, while Eddie McCready, and in his own penalty area, made a flying kick in Billy Bremner's head. And then Johnny Giles also lunged at a Chelsea player. There's also Jack
Giles
Charlton.
and Eddie McCready had a bit of history, to put it mildly.
Yeah, that's been on the show a few times, I think.
Well, you know, John Giles doesn't forget. Let's just put it that way. Eddie McCready thought he was safe 4 years later. Turned out he was not.
It'll be interesting, though, to see this weekend, aside from that, if when you look at the numbers, whether Chelsea will actually get it done or not, because they've actually lost their last 5 cup finals at Wembley. Now, they've the most appearances at the new Wembley, which is
5 FA Cup finals in a row. 5 cup finals. So
5 cup finals. 5 cup finals. Sorry, yeah,
apologies. It's a shocker of a record.
It is. And when you look at it, when you look back at it, so you've got the Liverpool game back in February, which went all the way to penalties. Then there was a Community Shield in there against Manchester City. I think that went to penalties as well. Then you had the Arsenal and the Leicester FA Cup finals. And so you look at it and you say, between the Liverpool and the Manchester City games, you can understand why they would lose it, and they got all the way to penalties as well. So it's not the worst result in the end. But apart from that, so
Come on, give me some more interesting stats.
so Liverpool have won 50% of their FA Cup finals, and you would think that that's not bad, but it's actually the joint third lowest success ratio of the 9 sides to have reached the final by 10 times at least.
That's a very complicated stat. You're into Shane Hannon territory here. You're losing the audience rapidly.
Only 2 teams have lost the FA Cup final more times if they've gotten to the final 10 times at least.
But how many teams have got to the final 10 times at least?
9 sides. 9 sides.
Okay.
So only Everton and Newcastle are the other 2 teams. The other part about that is, and this is actually probably even more complex, to be honest with you, but so Chelsea lost the last 2 FA Cup finals, and they lost them to Leicester and they lost them to Arsenal. When you look at their league standings, Leicester were lower ranked in the league and Arsenal were lower ranked in the league from Chelsea in those 2 finals.
Okay.
The last time that the FA Cup final was won by the team ranked lower in the league was 1978. So it looked
3 times in a row.
3 times in a row.
1978. I'd say that'll be weighing on the minds of the Liverpool players in the dressing room.
It's a tough one, you know. But the other part about it is, I mean, you look at the way the 2 teams have played over this season and the managers themselves.
Yes, Tuchel against Klopp.
Yeah,
Turns out they only took the best bits from Ralph Rangnick. They obviously knew when to switch off in the chats.
They did, but what's interesting about it is Klopp actually has a really good record against Tuchel. They've played each other 18 times.
Yeah.
Klopp's won 9 of them. Tuchel's only won 3. Which is...
He's got him sussed, is what you're saying.
He maybe. But at Chelsea, Tuchel won his first game at Anfield and then lost 1 and drew the other 2. The other 2 were in the league this season. And basically, this is the 4th time they've met this season. But every single game has ended in a draw. Unless you count penalty shootout.
Okay.
So I think this game is going to go right down to the wire. I think it will go all the way to penalties again. I think we'll see a lot of controversy of whether Tuchel brings on Kepa.
God.
But I think it's a good thing.
Give me this one. Who scored the most goals in FA Cup finals?
In an FA Cup final, Didier Drogba.
Okay. Used to be Ian Rush for a long time, wasn't it? See, these were the stats when the FA Cup was important. You just know these things. Nobody had ever scored in every round. Then Potter Gammon appeared and they just couldn't get to the final.
Basically, what Chelsea need to do is they need to re-sign Didier Drogba just for 1 game.
Has any team ever lost 3 FA Cup finals in a row?
No.
Oof. So Chelsea.
It could be it could be a very tough game.
Right. 12 men have scored in every round of the FA Cup. It's quite impressive. Going all the way back to the great Archie Hunter from Aston Villa, all the way back in 1887. They should build a statue of that man alongside Philippe Coutinho. Peter Osgood did it in 1970.
Do you know who the most informed player in the FA Cup this season is with the most goal contributions?
Goal contributions. By goal contributions, you're now including assists as well.
Yeah, so 2 goals, 3 assists.
Come on. He scored 2 goals and 3 assists. You don't deserve to be at top of any stat.
Well,
you could have played 1 game.
Well, the player is going to play in the final, most likely.
Timo Werner.
It is Timo Werner.
Come on.
I think it could be Timo Werner's day.
Well, you and Timo Werner's mother, I'd say, and that's about it.
When you look at the way Chelsea play, though, you actually look at it, and when Timo Werner's in the side, the runs he makes, the work
Werner
rate.
final.
The Werner final. You never know. It could be.
So statistically, who's going to win this?
Statistically, it does look like it's going to be Liverpool's day. But given the fact that both teams haven't beaten each other all season, I would imagine that it goes all the way to penalties again. And we see a bit of drama in the penalty shootout.
Okay. That is major sitting on the fence.
No, I wouldn't say that.
No, if there's one thing meaningful metrics is meant to bring us, it's an answer. It's an answer.
Well, that is an answer.
What I expected you to come with was, and on penalties, here are the stats that suggest this team are going to win.
Well, Kepa has a better...
basic stat is going to suggest Liverpool will win because they beat them in a penalty shootout last time out. How often does a team... I'm just throwing questions at you now, far too late. It's a new part of Meaningful Metrics where we open it to the audience to do the research for us. How often do the team that last won the penalty shootout win the next one as well.
But
So back-to-back penalty shootout victories against the same opposition.
Senegal beat Egypt 2 games in a row, didn't they?
Very, very, very good.
Yeah. And that was Edouard Mendy.
There we go. That is the link that I wanted to finish Meaningful Metrics. Good stuff, Andy. Enjoy the game.
Cheers. Thank you.
Meaningful Metrics and Off the Ball in partnership with Whoop, the personalised digital fitness and health coach that helps you unlock your inner potential. Check out whoop.com for more.
Meaningful Metrics on Off the Ball.
In partnership with Whoop, the personalised digital fitness and health coach that helps you unlock your inner potential. See whoop.com for more.